morning, everybody. Welcome into First Take here at Hudson Square. I got to get used to saying that. Brian Windhorst in the building, Tim McMahon, Danny Green. Guys, how we feeling? How we doing?
Great, great.
Feeling good.
All right, Wendy, you awake? You look alive.
Oh, I've been awake for hours on end, Molly.
Oh, yeah. You're already warmed up. You're ready to go. All right, let's dive right in because we got some breaking news here, guys. Shams reporting this morning that Masai Ujiri is out as vice president and chairman of the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors won their first championship under Ujiri in 2019, but have gone 55-109 over their last two seasons. Wendy, what impact could this move have on the NBA landscape?
Well, the Raptors are a team that, first off, they've a little bit underachieved the last couple of years, and they frankly kind of tanked at the end of the season. They won more games than they wanted to, and they didn't get lucky in the lottery. They ended up with the 9th pick, and then they tried to move up with the 9th pick, either move up in the draft or use the 9th pick to acquire more talent, which they weren't able to get done. But the key, I think, here is the Raptors are about to have an ownership change. In fact, they've already had the ownership change. And Ed Rogers, the head of Rogers Communications, is going to be taking over the team within the next year. And he fired the head of the Toronto Argonauts. He fired Brendan Shanahan, who ran the Toronto Maple Leafs. And now there's a parting of ways with the president of the Toronto Raptors. First off, Ujiri is one of the most respected executives in the league. I do not think that he will have a problem getting another job if he wants one. However, it is a reminder of how Raptors were going to be potentially very motivated to make a move in the next couple of weeks.
Danny, are you shocked by this from a player perspective?
I am, because Masai has done so much for that organization. He's been amazing. Obviously, he's legendary in the whole country of Canada. And for me, you know, I'm biased, but I love what he's done there. Obviously, the last couple of years have not been great, but I sense that he would turn it around. He hasn't got that opportunity. Well, he won't get that opportunity any further. But we had a great relationship. He had a great relationship with all the players there. And I said, he was a guy that did a great job of recruiting guys and getting people to come there. So I was a little shocked by it because I thought he might have been one of the guys to make a run at one of the big stars this upcoming free agency. But he won't get that opportunity now. So, I mean, things are changing all around the league.
Tim, what was your visceral reaction when you heard this?
Well, I wasn't surprised because it seemed like his tenure in Toronto was going to come to an end sooner than later. But what Wendy said about him being one of the most respected executives in the league, won't have a problem getting another job if he wants one. That, to me, is the big question. Does Masai Ujiri want to jump right in with another franchise? I think that's a question a lot of people around the league are going to be asking. This is a guy who's proven he can build not just a contender, but a championship team, making a blockbuster trade to bring in a Danny Green. I think there was somebody else involved in that deal, too, kind of named Kawhi. But seriously, the guy built a sustained contender in Toronto, got them to the mountaintop, and if you're looking for somebody to run your franchise, I think you've got to start right here if he's available.
All right, speaking of changes, guys, let's look to the great state of Texas here.
Trong cuộc sống, chúng ta có quyền lựa chọn. Lạc quan yêu đời. Sức khỏe vững vàng. Sẵn sàng trải nghiệm. Theo đuổi đam mê. Hãy chọn Herbalife, thương hiệu được hàng triệu người dùng tin chọn. Herbalife. Nâng tầm.
About the Spurs. After acquiring De'Aaron Fox from the Kings last season, San Antonio looks forward to having him and the French sensation Victor Wembanyama for a full season. Danny, which Texas duo are you the highest on?
I may sound a little biased here, but I'm looking at the Spurs. I want to see a healthy Wemby and a De'Aaron Fox. We never got a chance to get them at full strength last year. Obviously, everybody's interested in seeing what KD looks like too, but for me, it's that duo and seeing how Wemby bounces back from that blood clot issue and De'Aaron Fox from his surgery. So, and they have a good core around them. They just drafted Dylan, Harper. They have Stephon Castle. They have so many good young pieces. Vassell. You got Keldon Johnson over there, Jeremy Sohan. Like, they have a really great, young core. So I want to see how they can, because I think they've been one of those teams that turn around fully and not be, obviously they were a lottery this past year, but going from that to being probably a top 6 seed in the West, top 6 seed in the West, excuse me.
McMahon, who do you have your eye on?
I'm shocked that Danny Green went "Go Spurs Go," right? You win championships somewhere, you should be a little bit biased. But look, this is there's a no wrong answer situation here. There's reason for excitement with all of these duos. I'm going to go with Kevin Durant and Amen Thompson. And the tiebreaker there is I think they have the best team. I think they have the best situation in terms of being able to make a deep playoff run. Amen Thompson is one of the best defensive players in the league, just spectacular in transition. But this team had a massive glaring hole in terms of the go-to guy. You bring in Kevin Durant, who can get 27 points per game in his sleep, 30,000 plus points, still playing at an elite level. And I do expect that the Houston Rockets are going to be playing into May, potentially even deep May.
Molly, I don't know the answer to this question. I honestly, I don't. I think part of it is we don't know necessarily who the duos are. What I mean, you talk about Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. Certainly, those guys are top of the game. But what if Dylan Harper is the kind of player that the Spurs and a lot of people think he is? What if their new duo, with all due respect to De'Aaron Fox, what if their duo ends up being Dylan Harper and Victor Wembanyama, and then you have Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox? Now you're talking about a different conversation altogether. I could have said the same thing about Dallas. This is not really a duo situation. This is a trio. When Kyrie Irving gets healthy, we're talking about Kyrie and Cooper Flagg and AD. That's very powerful. And, it's really hard to build a big three in the modern NBA because of the new rules, the new CBA rules, except when one of them is on their rookie contract, which Cooper Flagg is going to be for the next 4 years. And then in Houston, I kind of, if I had to pick a team now that I like to win, I like Houston, like McMahon said, because I think KD adding to that roster, and I am as high on Amen Thompson as I am on any young player in the league. And again, they have Amen Thompson is on a rookie scale contract, but that leaves out their all-star. Their all-star is Alperen Şengün. And so what makes this so remarkable, and it's a really good construct of a question because it's a really good, who do you like the best? But these teams are deeper than these duos.
Okay, let's put it this way. I love the appreciation you're having for the league, but if Big Perk was here right now, he'd tell you this is First Take, and you need to pick a side. But I'll work with you a little bit. What are you most excited to see right now?
The most excited to see with McMahon is Amen and Durant, because I think their skill sets potentially, especially if they're going to complement each other on the wings, potentially very, very interesting. But I will say Cooper Flagg is going to be fascinating to watch. But if you're backing me into a corner, I will say the Rockets.
Danny?
Interesting take. No love for Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis from anybody here. I'm interested in seeing that. I picked the Spurs because I just think they can turn it around. Houston does have the better team right now. But if healthy, I think Dallas, honestly, could be the team to give OKC their toughest run. They could be one of the best teams in the West between Houston and Dallas. So, yeah. Wendy, I love the fact that you're looking at the trios, but we got to pick a duo here. And I guess I can settle with Kevin Durant and Amen Thompson. That's a good second for me anyway.
I talked him into it.
Yeah. Tim, why no